A week ago this morning, we lost our friend and mentor, Ian Woodward. Ian and I were partners for 17 years, and those were a great 17 years because I retired from a job and I had no idea what I was going to do, and Ian and I became friends, and he really gave me a direction for the next 17 years of my life. We were good friends, and we talked nearly every day, so it's very different and difficult right now. But I just want to show you a sample of Ian's teaching style.
Down is the way to go. Oh, you say, no, come on, Ian. I'm technical, and I'm fundamental, and I have a mixture of both. I'm both. I say you gotta have the fundamentals, you gotta have the technicals. Why? Because I'm Woodward. I came to this country because I knew from England that the streets were paved with gold. Okay? At any rate, I knew. My father said to me, son, go for 2 years. See if you like the country and the country likes you. Well, of course, that was 1960. And you know the decision I made. All right? So, came to UNIVAC. The computers I worked with were the size of this room. Can you imagine? And then was fortunate enough, in terms of working on online real-time computing, to then move to Xerox in its infancy. Xerox today? Well, another matter. But the Xerox of 1963, the rest was history. No problem. Beautiful. All right. But, in other words, it's the new America. You need stocks that are the up-and-coming growth stocks that make this country what it is. IBM, Cisco Systems, Intel, you all know, those were the winners of the past. Now what are you looking at? Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn and so on and so forth. So you've got to get with the times. We call those, by the way, we'll get to it, I'm getting ahead of myself, the canaries. You want to know what are the modern day winners. And I say to you, out of that bunch of canaries, before I forget it, that the one that you should be on after this correction has taken place, note the words, after the correction has taken place, is Facebook. It is currently at about 70, 75 or whatever, but for sure that beast is going to 130, and I'll show you. All right, but let's get back to it. The drivers. Markets have hot and cold stuff, and in essence, here it is, it's drawn out for you. Markets account for about 40 to 45%. Some will say that's too conservative here. The market drives what happens to your stock, not the stock. The stock is only worth 20 to 30% in the big picture. It's the groups that count, and you better have the best one or two in that lot. And look at it, 70 against 30. So the tops-down approach is what gets you there fastest. Now, with all that you learn and all that you have by way of experience, immediately puts you onto the right fish. And that's what this whole 3 days is all about. So, don't forget this. You need to work tops down because I don't have time. I don't have time. By the way, newbies, I used to stand through all this presentation. Now, unfortunately, the jolly old arthritis in the knee has in fact made me sick. But that's all right. When I get up, you better listen. All right. So remember that. All right. Now I'm going to sit down.
I hope you enjoyed that clip of Ian. I miss him greatly, as do many of you. And I just wanted to show you that I think it really captured his essence in the classroom. Just a great teacher, very knowledgeable, and once again, rest in peace, Ian. We miss you greatly. I want to point out something. This folder, Ian Woodward and Ron Brown, this is going to remain in the program. It will be there indefinitely. It's all the work. Well, it's not all the work. We did a tremendous amount of work in 17 years, but this was the last version of what we worked on together. And if you want the classic Woodward, these are the warehouse views that are all Ian's, and they're also comparable chart views. Let me bring up a chart here, and if you go to Woodward and Brown, here are the classic Woodward charts right here. These will always be in the HGSI software. Many of us use these tools, and there certainly is no reason to remove them, and the thought of it isn't even a possibility because of Ian's teachings. I will refer to these and use them occasionally, but I'm also going forward. And I have my own folder now. I just want to point out that everything that I work on in the future, it's either going to be in the Ron Brown folder or in the volume price analysis. But what I'm doing is integrating the techniques that I'm currently using primarily into the Ron Brown folder. But I will not be changing anything in the Woodward and Brown folder. Also, the Woodward and Brown Smart Groups will remain as they are. Now, this is an installation that I'm using. I have taken everything out except the folders that I'm using. You should have all of these are available to you if you've done a clean install. If you do not have my folder, you can always go to your main menu, select Help, go to Add-ons, select Add-ons, and that will take you to the add-on page where you can download this zip file. It's dated May 1st, 2016. Those of you who are in the Insider Club have files that are a little more current, but when I do these reports, I will only use files that are available to everyone. So you just download that file, and then there are a couple of videos up there showing you how to install them, but essentially you download the file, you select Install Add-ons, you locate that file, and then you just apply it. Here's the RB file. Just open it. I'll just go ahead and do it. And it's going to close this. And since the user groups were updated, it's going to go through this process of updating the Woodward and Brown user groups also. Okay, it doesn't take long. The import's complete, and then you will have everything that I was working on up until the 1st of May. Now, for the rest of this video, I want to show you a couple of things that are in the new folder. And Ian was talking about growth stocks and New America. Well, let's just go there. And before I do that, though, I'm going to load a utility. I did a video yesterday on yesterday, the day before, on using multiple windows within HGSI. So I have a program that I've purchased. It's like $19. It's called Max 2, and it allows me to set up regions. And this regions, or the 3 regions I've set up now, allow me to have a scorecard view and then also a couple of chart views. I didn't want that down there. I want it down here, and I'll just double click and it goes into that space. I'm going to add another charting window, and this is going to be a weekly over here. I'm using charts that are in the Ron Brown folder, and I'm using some longer term exponential moving averages. You will find these charts under Ron Brown. These are the files that I'm working on for the webinars. Of course, I'm way behind with Ian's death, and I'm going to try to get caught up. I was hoping to hold these the second week of June, but that's not going to happen. Anyway, if you go into your into the Ron Brown folder and use the number 3 view, I call these the IR charts. It's something I'm working on for the webinars called the impulse reaction views. I'm not going to get into that today, but the charts are in there. And the way I have this set up now, and by the way, on your first chart under the tool menu, you have to make sure that you have linked the multiple chart windows and that the warehouse selection follows the chart. And then with that, you go up here and you click on the first one, and then when you go down the list, it will show the next stock in sequence in these two charts, the weekly chart and the daily chart. So if I just click on this up here, notice that this appears in both charts. And once you get going, you can also go down here and right mouse click on a chart and notice that it follows me down. CBYL is next. Sempra Energy is coming up in both charts next. And by the way, if your computer is a little slow, and mine is here because I have the VFB filters down here showing the volume point of control. Now I'm going to right mouse click and edit the current view. I'm going to check something here. I'm going to go to the positive, make sure it's on 1 year, and negative or down, make sure it's on 1 year. And that's all I want to show. I do not want to show any longer term VFBs because it takes longer to recalculate them when they're set beyond a year. Just check your settings and make sure it's set on 1 year only. Now let's get into this. Ian was talking about Facebook and growth stocks, and I'm going to go down to the new views down here and under the volume point of control. Now the volume point of control is based upon that I'm using is based upon 10 periods and what we call 10 buckets. I'm not going to explain that right now, but when the area here is green, the bulls are in control based upon volume, and when it's rose, the bears are in control. Now this is the weekly chart, this is the daily chart over here, and what we're seeing with this mining stock is that it's been chopping around here between the bulls and the bears, and it closed in the green area yesterday on this gap up in this effort to rise. That's because the jobs report lit the mining stocks on fire, and so we saw a lot of gaps up and follow through during the day. What I want to concentrate on is this number 4 folder down here because we're talking about growth stocks. Now there are 5 entries in here. The first view, it's called Growth Stocks VPOC 1010 and Force 2 Positive. In other words, the Force 2 is positive, and the VPOC, or volume point of control 1010, is also positive because they're both greater than 0. Now these are growth stocks because the percent EPS change, the most recent quarter compared to the same quarter 1 year ago, is greater than or equal to 20%. And the previous quarter is compared to the same quarter 1 year earlier, and it too is 20%. These are stocks trading at $5 and above, 250,000 shares. So the requirements are that they have growth and that both the VPOC and the Force Index 2 are positive. The sort using the combo rank is that the industry percentage price change 1 day is the combo. It's a single field, and if you look over here, you can see that precious metal and mining was up 10.24% yesterday, but only one stock is a growth stock, or a stock that meets the requirements of the 2020 compared to the prior or the same quarters 1 year ago. Same thing goes for the steel producers. Only one stock. That group was up 2.12%. Yesterday was a down day in the market after the jobs report, but the market actually closed very strongly. So I think that was just a shakeout day. But today I'm looking at growth stocks. If you look over here, you're going to see that there are 98 securities in this group. Now, the best way to see what's in here is to bring up your spectrum analyzer, use the drop-down menu, and locate the industry, and this gives me a breakdown of the stocks, or the groups, I should say, that are in here. Out of the 98 total of securities, there are 47 slices. The dominant group is the REITs. That's where money has a tendency to flow during times of uncertainty, because most of these stocks yield, and if interest rates are not going up, and after yesterday's jobs report, I think the probability of an interest rate increase in July are probably slim to none. I don't know that, but the market thinks that. How do I know that? Because the REITs are all going up, and the money is flowing into REITs that are growth REITs. Okay, let's just take a look at the, well, I won't use that one. That was actually down for the day. Let's do a secondary sort here. I'm going to do technicals, percentage price change 1 day. So still sorted by groups, but now I have the REIT, which was up the greatest percentage yesterday. So I'm going to bring that up, and you can see that it appears in both windows. Look at this beautiful weekly chart of this REITs. The REITs throughout this year and into last year have been one of the strongest groups. Notice how price held above this 18-period exponential moving average on a weekly chart. Yeah, there was a slight dip in a few places on the daily chart, but it certainly held above the 50. And when all of these lines are stacked on top of one another, the 18, the 50, the 100, and the 200, that means a stock is in a long-term uptrend. A couple other things I want to point out here. Notice that the VPA trends are all up. This is the best fit trend on both the weeklies. This measures the weekly trends. This measures the daily trends. Everything is up here. We had a dip down here on the volume point of control as the bulls lost control temporarily, but notice they regained control right here. That's not correct. It's more like right here. But on the weekly, and you can use the weekly as a filter, it never did go negative. Now this is a growth stock, and I'm going to enlarge this by holding my shift key and click on magnify, and I'll bring up the daily chart, and let's just do some comparison here. I'll make this a frame. This quarter, let's see if I can make this smaller. This quarter compared 37 cents compared to this quarter. Well, we didn't have a percentage there, but it went from 21 to 37, which is a 76.2% increase. This quarter went from 21 to 32, which is a 52.4% increase. So you can see very strong growth in Coresight Realty Corporation. You can also see that there is a current dividend yield of 2.7%, and when the stock was trading over here, that dividend yield was much greater. Now I'm going to bring up my alternate A key, and I'm going to draw a trend line just from the left edge of the chart to the right edge. This encompasses 193 trading days. This REIT, a conservative investment, is up 65.1%, and this is considered a growth stock by the criteria that I entered into my filter. Is it too late to get into this stock? Maybe. Nobody knows. People thought the same thing over here. Just depends. The trend is up. The growth factors are there. How did I learn about the growth factors and getting this information filtered correctly in HGSI? Well, that's something that Ian and I and George and Matt worked on a long time ago, and it works very well. Now, remember, we're working with stocks that are not only growth stocks, but they also have these other requirements. Let me make that an arrow. Try it again. The VPOC is positive, and the Force 2-day is positive. So there are technical triggers, and there are fundamental requirements. Is this a New America stock, as Ian was referring to? Not what we would consider a New America stock, but it is a growth stock, and it meets all the requirements, and it's going up. The trends are up, and it's up, 65% over that time period. You're looking to buy stocks that are growing and moving up, and these REITs have been a great group of stocks to be in. Now let's just move down here. I'll do one more. I'm just going to take the top semiconductor device and let's look at it. And we're on a weekly chart here. You can see that it appeared both on the weekly chart and the daily chart. Now these moving averages are all in the correct sequence, both on the daily and the weekly chart. The thing that stands out immediately is the sloppiness of this chart, though. Look, it's all over the place. It really hasn't made progress anywhere close to what that REIT has done over that time period. But it has made progress, and right now you can see that it is moving up. There are multiple VPA flags. It came down, as these stocks so often do, and tests the 50-day exponential moving average, and then it took off again. But there were plenty of signals here. Now I'm going to just make this large. Let's go on and look at the fundamentals. 14 cents this quarter, the same quarter 1 year ago. 8 cents, 75% increase. 30% increase compared a dime to 13 cents. So this is a growth stock. All the requirements are met, the technical requirements. And let's just take a look down here, and you can see that this stock has been tracking its group. Groups are very, very important, as Ian said in that introductory video. We pay a lot of attention to groups. We always work top down because that is the best way to put the odds in your favor. Okay, I don't want this video to get too long. I'm not going to go through all of these these will be discussions for another time, but I do want to point out something that I think you'll find very useful. If you go down here to the growth stocks, stocks and groups moving up smart group, and stocks and groups moving up smart group 1 to 15. Now what this does, and this is a feature that Matt put in several months ago, it's a very powerful feature. What I'm doing here is combining the growth requirements, but the stocks are residing in the smart group of stocks and groups moving to the upside. This is key and is a group member of stocks and groups moving up. Now I have the filter, identical filters. One of them concentrates on the stocks and groups moving up, and the other one is stocks and groups moving up 1 to 15. So in the first group, you can see that 8 stocks were in the stocks and groups moving to the upside. These are growth stocks, and they also had to be in the smart group. And you can see that this Coresight Realty, which I looked at earlier, is one of the stocks. So there are 4 REITs in the stocks and groups moving to the upside. Now let's go down. I'll just bring this back up here, and let's do the 1 to 15 group, and you can see that there are 17. Now here's Rudolph Technologies. We know it's in the smart group, but look what the dominant group is here, the precious metals and mining. The groups, in addition to precious metal mining, are the REITs also. Remember, these stocks are $1 to $15. Here's a couple of steel producers. AK Steel, that's a name that everybody knows. I'll just click on that and notice that it appears both on the weekly chart and the daily chart. The volume point of control is positive on both. This one dipped down. The 18 went below the 50, but notice the crossover to the upside. But the volume point of control picked it up first. If you want a quick way to look for growth stocks that are in the stocks and groups moving up, use these 2 features every day. I know a lot of you like to look at growth stocks only. This is a good way to go. I'm going to end this video right now. I hope you enjoyed it. There will be more of this to come when I do get around to doing those webinars. We'll discuss these features and many other things, and we'll always remember our good friend Ian. Thank you for listening.